So I just saw a comment I had, and I was going to reply directly to it, but I'm just going to mention it in this video, where somebody had said, "I hope you have happy moments," and I do. Um, at times it's a little stressful. I've been doing this for over 3 years. Many people have been doing it longer. And if you notice, there's all these people, just everyday people, especially on TikTok, but other places too, where they're just putting videos up. Like something's motivating them, moving them that they need to speak up about this. And that's really how God works. It really is. It is, except that most people in this world would judge that and judge me and others that do that, because we believe in God, and we believe God does move people to, motivates people to stand up, speak up, whatever. And some people just don't take the nudge, so to speak, when God nudges you. Yeah, I put up a lot of videos sometimes. It's not a plan in my head to do that. Many times it's just I come across something and something tells me, this is with this, and then you gotta share it. So it may seem like that I get defensive. I seem like I'm mad, and sometimes I'm angry because a lot of stuff seems like it really people shouldn't be doing, but everybody's been deceived. So it's more just the drive and passion in me. It's not that I'm always angry or upset, and so I don't know what else to say about that, because I don't think everybody understands. The very people that like to judge people like me have never even tried to walk with God many times. So it's really not fair, nor a very educated thing to do, to judge people like me when you've never even yourself, not to that commenter, but those people that judge people like me. It's really kind of a stupid or ignorant thing to do, to judge people, because when you've never walked the road with God or made a really good attempt at it, then you really shouldn't pass judgment on what you do not know. For whatever reason, God is nudged a lot of people, especially on TikTok, to take on their role of truth and put it out there. And that's God at work. That's how He's always done it. I do have stress at times, because honestly, the healthcare system has a real control over its workers. It really does, because, I've had 2 jobs that they didn't work out at the last minute, and then I have another one that's just not looking good, or I haven't had a job, and so that's stressful. So it may seem like I'm stressful, but I'm too driven that I have to speak up. So, I could say, forget it, I'm going to take the easier, softer road, and I'll just do what the healthcare doesn't, they want me to be silent and be like everybody else and just, go along. You got to do that for the paycheck, and that would be the easier route. But I can't explain it. Something's told me this is the route I have to go on. I struggle with that, so sometimes it may seem like it's just more stress on certain days. Not bad stress, just what's going to happen kind of thing. It's one day at a time, really. Jesus had told the few interactions he had with the elders that knew who he was. He told them, drop everything and walk with me. Drop everything. They didn't want to drop their luxury and their money, and so it's hard to do that. And so to me, it's like I'm putting myself out there, and it would be so nice if we had an ethical system, because you would think in nursing, they would want nurses that are speaking honestly, that are speaking the truth, because I can't believe that I'm not making sense. I can tell by people's comment that people get it. So you would think the nursing profession would, they'd want to have nurses like me. But if it's a profession at the top that wants to silence and doesn't want you speaking up, well, then it's easier to blacklist you, and hopefully you'll be silenced because you'll eventually have nothing because you won't get a job anywhere. So sometimes that kind of stuff stresses me out. And I think, oh, I'm just making a wrong decision here. I'm being foolish. But I don't know. Something keeps telling me, no, I have to keep going. So I'm one of those people that would be like, okay, if I have to lose everything, then I do. I hope that doesn't happen. But if that's what you're called to do, you're called to do. And that may seem crazy to people, but again, if you've never experienced it, then you don't know what that's all about. So you shouldn't judge it. Not the person that left that comment, I'm just saying in general. I think one of the things that does need to happen is I saw, and I have a different opinion about the speaker, Mike Johnson. So I'm not all the way in the I don't trust him area. So I'm glad to have been possibly wrong about him. I'm still on the fence. Time will tell. But from a couple of the past things I posted, like with the guy I follow, he's a banker, and I posted stuff of his. I actually, the things he said, I thought, yeah, he is a fiscal conservative. And actually, by him separating the Ukraine and the Israel money, it's actually made it to where, because Biden won't sign it, no money's gone anywhere. So I would like to be wrong about him. So I have a different opinion of him. I'm, still paying attention. But I saw this video with him where he was saying, and it's going around today, is that about how, because he's obviously biblically motivated and saying that only God can save the country, and we're going through a shaking. And he said what we need is revival, and basically either God's going to judge us harshly because enough people won't get it, or he's going to give us a second chance, kind of thing. And I understand what I understand what he's saying, but I think that the people there in Washington, they need to do their part too. They can't expect, because he was talking about all of the institutions, nobody trusts them anymore. And it's like, no, they don't. So you should, they're institutions likely that never should have been put in place to begin with, because they weren't in the Constitution. Yet I think a lot of those people look at all these different three-letter agencies, maybe not all, maybe they want to defund at the FBI, but you never hear them talking about defunding Health and Human Services, CDC, all this. And yet those are all avenues that have been used to push tyranny on the people. So if you expect that you can just replace these agencies, get a good I think really if they need to do their part. Those that are on the Hill that do believe in the Bible and know our history of, that we were founded on biblical values, they need to do their part and not just say, we pray, but they need to start speaking up about how these agencies need to be defunded. Has anyone talked about how we need to defund Health and Human Services? No. They want to convince everybody China and Russia and all these other countries are the problem, and that's not being honest. It's not. Even Trump himself has said that the enemy is within. China is not. I'm not worried about other countries. I'm not. I'm worried about the enemy that's within this country. I don't particularly like that China oppresses their people, but an outside country is not the problem. But so many agencies, it's their way of making you think that that's what you should worry about, because then you won't focus on the ones that are actually causing you tyranny. When has any media said Health and Human Services, CDC, all of these should be defunded? They haven't. And so to me, if Mike Johnson believes in what he says, and I think he does when he's talking biblically, in this video I saw, it needs to start with him, right? It needs to start with everyone. We need to say, no, these agencies should be eliminated. God would want us to start from a place of truth. You can't expect the American people to put trust back in these agencies when they never really should have been created to begin with, but were created to take away the rights that God gave man. So the people on the Hill, those that believe in God, you too have to stand up in truth.